Loss function is basically the difference between a model's predicted output versus the actual output. In other words, how wrong the model's guess is. I like to think of loss being synonymous with the word error. The higher the loss, the higher the error, which obviously is a bad thing. When training a model, we essentially want to minimize this loss as much as possible. Let me explain with an example. Let's say we have a simple regression model that we use to predict house prices. When we feed the model the square footage of a house, it should return the correct house price based on the square footage. Let's say we input into our model 1,000 square feet and it returns a house with the price of $100,000. But that is incorrect. The actual house price based on 1,000 square feet should be $120,000. Now we want to calculate the loss, aka the error of this model. There are multiple ways of calculating the loss. The choice of loss function is dependent on what kind of problem it is, regression or classification. Usually the loss is calculated as a sum in a batch or an entire data set. We will be using a common loss function for regression called mean absolute error. For a single house, the error is the absolute difference. So 120,000 minus 100,000 gives us 20,000 as our loss for this single data point. We then use the loss as a feedback mechanism to adjust our model's parameters in order to try to lower our loss. A loss of 0 would mean we have no error, which means our model's predicted output matched the actual output. Remember, the goal when training a model is to try to minimize our loss as much as possible. I hope with this I got to answer the question, what is loss function?